Batho ba Modimo. Welcome to the 4th episode of season 2 of Confessions of a Consecrated Cutie. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Yeah. Guys, I am out of breath because I am chasing the clock against ESCOM. Okay, I have load shedding soon, but I had to get the content out to you, bro. So if the lighting goes, if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Spotify and the lighting suddenly becomes very, that's not the quality you used to, we're just gonna have to make do with what we have. Just make the best out of an unfortunate situation, okay? Okay, if you don't know who I am, I'm one and only Rory on the social media streets, but in your heart, and in my parents' hearts, I'm Heeelang Sibilwane. I'm a digital content creator. You should check me out on all the platforms. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And I'm not going to waste too much time because we don't have time today, okay? I'm just going to get right into it, okay? So last week I was speaking about romantic relationships and how you never really know if you're ready, and how sometimes that may mean that you might have to, break somebody's heart, in the attempt to, find your love, right? But one thing that always comes up in terms of relationships, like friendships, relationships, whatever, is that you have the responsibility to guard your heart, right? And in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the cost of guarding your heart, and to what point can we excuse certain behaviors or certain traits that you have because it is how you guard your heart. Like, to what point can you guard your heart while also being a good societal member? Like, am I making sense? But also just being a good person, but also being a good friend, but also potentially also being a good lover. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So before we get into it, I'm just going to tell you guys like where the whole guard your heart thing comes from and why it's important for a person to guard their heart, right? But in Proverbs 4 verse 23, I use the Passion Translation. It says, "So above all, guard the affections of your heart, for they affect all that you are." All that you are. Okay? Pay attention to the welfare of your innermost being, for from there flows the wellspring of life. So basically, what this is basically saying, it is your responsibility to guard your heart. Like, it's important for you to guard your heart because the decisions that you make in life, the people you allow into your life, the way you treat people, the way you allow people to treat you, your dreams, your aspirations, who you are as a person basically stems from that. There are a lot of things that can happen to us that in turn like affect everything else that you do. Like, we are going to, one thing about me, I'm gonna make an illustration, I'm gonna make an example, and I'm gonna make you understand what I'm saying, right? So I want to start maybe with it saying, you crush on someone, right? Let's say you have a crush on someone, and then that person starts, you have a crush on someone, and then that crush comes to you and tells you that, you know what, oh, you're such a great friend, whatever. Oh, but your friend though, I would really like to get to know your friend better, right? So now you internalize that thing. That hurts your heart, right? That hurts your pretty little heart. And you internalize that whole thing to that thing of like, nobody ever wants me. They're only ever interested in my friends. So now every single time, sometimes people befriend you genuinely, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes when, you start to find, you find yourself crushing on someone who, became a friend to the group or a friend to you, then you decide, oh no, I like him, but I know he's not going to like me. So let me try and hook him up with Savannah. Your girl Savannah, or your girl Bitumelo, or your girl Thunder. Do you know? Because you have faced that thought of rejection again, and you know the pain of that rejection again. So your method of guarding your heart is by making sure that doesn't happen again, by hooking your friend up with that person that you like before it can happen. Like, I don't know if I'm making sense. Another example is sometimes, like, just think when we were kids, right? The possibilities were endless. You can be whatever, you can do whatever. Heck, you can be Spider-Man. If you decide as a child, today I'm gonna be Spider-Man, then you are Spider-Man. Nobody can tell you nothing, right? Until people actually start telling you something. You start telling people your dreams. Oh, okay, no, I want to make movies. And then people, they start telling you're going to be broke, baby. You're going to be broke. Think about even when you're choosing subjects for grade 10. You're just like, you know what, let me do business, let me do CAT, because you know what you're trying to do, right? And they'd be like, no, you got to take physics. You got to do maths. You got to whatever. But it's like, that absolutely does not align with who I am and what I want to do. But because of the words that you hear, or the way that you treated, because of choosing certain things, you realize, oh, you know what, it hurts for me to, disobey them in an attempt to do what pleases me. So that's you protecting your heart, that's you guarding your heart. That's you, preventing what hurts from happening, because it hurts, right? And then that hurt then trickles out into every single aspect of your life. Now you're at work, you don't say when you're unhappy, because you're used to, when you speak your mind, the reception that you get hurts you. So you don't speak your mind. You find yourself in a relationship, or you find yourself, it's 2023, talking stages are taking over. They're rife. Talking stages are taking over. You stumble into one, you accidentally fall into one, you never plan these things, you fall into one. And then you find yourself not being able to express yourself in there, because, especially when it's something that upsets you, because you've realized when you communicate something that has upset you, the result is that a person, that person that you're communicating to, their reaction hurts you. So your method of guarding your heart is to stop speaking up. So you stop speaking up when you don't like things. You only speak up when you like things. You'll be like, oh, okay, I like whatever. And it's even the same with like communicating expectations, right? Because you're used to always being, let's say if you were always used to being disappointed when you communicated your expectations, or your dad, for example, always used to break the promises that he would make to you. Now you always know that, like, you go around life going around feeling like if somebody says they're going to do something, they're not going to do it. Or if I communicate that I want something, it's not going to get done anyway. So what's the point of me communicating what I want to get done? Like, am I making sense? Are you rolling with me? Right? So your form of guarding your heart is not communicating your expectations, because you already believe that nobody is going to meet those expectations anyways. Like, it's just a waste of you, it's just a waste of your breath, right? So now it's giving bleeding on people who didn't catch you, right? And this can happen in like many ways. Those are just a few examples that I can think of right now to sort of explain how someone else's, like, your version of guarding your heart comes from the times when you didn't guard your heart and it resulted in something. So now, to prevent that happening again, you guard your heart by doing certain things, right? And this episode, like the whole theme of Growing Pains, is to have the uncomfortable conversations with yourself and to reflect and think, in what ways, like to reflect on like the cost of guarding your heart. In what ways was I thinking I was guarding my heart, but as a result, I did myself a disservice? Like, I was, instead of the way I was guarding my heart, progressing my life, it ended up regressing my life. It regressed my relationships, my friendships, the bonds that I built, and etc. That episode of Mbumile Dwaba and Sinovuyo Mondliwa, where I think I said his name wrong, I'm so sorry, where they were talking about vulnerability, right? And how she was basically saying that she got more, she was basically saying she got more out of life when she started being vulnerable. And it got me thinking, how can you strike that balance of being vulnerable, so basically opening yourself up while also guarding your heart? And I think the reason why I found it difficult for myself, I was just like, for me to guard my heart means to push people away, right? For me to guard my heart basically means to push people away. Like, that is what it means to me. Like, guarding my heart means to push people away and to not allow people to get to a point where they can hurt me. So basically, like, if you don't communicate your expectations, something that I know that I'm working on stopping to do. If you don't communicate your expectations, it's hard you'll still get hurt. That's also the other thing. But it's hard for the person to hurt you because of not meeting your expectations after you had communicated your expectations. Like, am I making sense? Instead of maybe communicate, like allowing people, there are different ways that I think I want to start implementing guarding my heart, right? I don't think guarding my heart should mean being closed off to people, being closed off to relationships, being closed off to allowing people to meet my expectations. I just think that I should allow the space for people to earn my trust, right? And people can't earn your trust if you don't give them the opportunity to earn your trust. People can't show you that they can meet your expectations if you don't communicate your expectations. Let's say, for example, you have a friend who is always late, or a friend who always cancels last minute. You then, instead of just saying, I'm just going to live with this, even though I know I hate it, which in turn hurts you as well, because it's like you can be thinking that this person is disrespecting my time. They don't even know that, right? So you can start by having that conversation of like, you listen, dude, I don't like when you are late because I'm a person who's very punctual, and it feels like you don't respect my time. If you say you're going to meet at a certain time and you don't come, you're a liar. Let's be honest, you're a liar. And you don't respect my time, because if you did respect my time, if you were going to a job interview or whatever, you would be on time. But with me, you don't take me seriously enough to be there on time. You can communicate that and be like, I would really appreciate that the next time you would tell me if you are going to run late. Not at the time. Don't tell me at 11 I'm going to write. You can tell by 12 o'clock you're going to be 15 minutes late or whatever. I'd appreciate if you can't make it. If you can tell you're going to be late, or you want to move the time to a later time, talk to me about it. Tell me earlier in advance. Or just be on time. Right? Then you've communicated that the next time you guys meet up, you can see if this person is meeting those expectations or not. The more the person meets those expectations and the more the person earns your trust, the more you can, start opening up more to them about the different expectations that you may have. And I think that's a better form of going about guarding your heart in terms of the vulnerability aspect, giving people the time to earn knowing certain parts of yourself, I think something that I struggle with as an oversharer is I just be sharing and I'm just a very open person, and sometimes that can result in me being hurt, right? So I think what I want to learn to guard my heart in the sense of allowing people the space to earn to know certain aspects of my life. Am I making sense? Like, that's a way that I reflected on the way that I got my heart and decided, you know what, like, let me be better about it, right? Let me still allow people the chance to get to know me better and to get to experience different aspects of me, but to do it in small doses. That way they continue to earn my trust. Let's say, for example, you go to a restaurant, right? The first time you go there, it's bad service. You're not going back there again. Like, am I making sense? But if you go there and it's always good service, so you keep communicating your expectations or whatever, it's always good service. You know, you can recommend this this restaurant to people because you trust it, right? You start trusting the restaurant. So the one day that they have bad service, you don't completely toss the restaurant, right? You're like, oh, okay, I understand them. They're probably having a bad day because I usually always go there. You can give them another chance. If they continue to be bad, then you toast them, obviously, because now it's becoming a consistent thing. But if you go back again and they improve again and you can see, oh, okay, from the last time, okay, clearly something was off or something was wrong or, you know, it was just a bad day, then you don't completely toast them. That's I think the way that I'm going forward with guarding my heart. But I've seen that the ways in actions have consequences and actions have reactions, and the way you treat people and the way you decide to guard your heart will have an effect on people. Your actions, whether you, as much as we hate to admit it, we love going around acting like, you know, lone man's world or whatever. In as much as we love acting like that, your actions have reactions and your actions affect people, right? Some people can be, you know, hurt a lot by past relationships or hurt a lot from, you know, things that they've been through in life. And I think sometimes this whole thing, like, I feel like the concept of guarding your heart can be used, as an excuse to treat people anyhow. It can be used as an excuse to excuse certain behaviors. And at the end of the day, whatever you decide to do, as the decision that you decide to make to guard your heart in a certain way, will affect the people that you have around you, whether you want to admit it or not. And I think the day we as society start realizing that your life has an impact on other people's lives is the day we can start being better people. The Bible said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you would not like to be treated a certain way and it being excused under the guise of this is how I protect myself, this is how I guard my heart, then don't do it to other people. I think sometimes, like, people end up being toxic in an attempt to guard their hearts. And I obviously don't want to come from a place of judgment or like I know better, because I also don't know better. And I also have, in instances of trying to guard my heart, been the toxic person. Right? And I just think that we need to reflect on the ways in which we decide to guard our hearts. We need to be intentional about guarding our hearts, but as far as possible, I think it's impossible to not hurt anyone ever in your life. And I think sometimes the right decisions that you may make for your life and that you may make in an attempt to guard your heart can sometimes hurt people. But I think as far as possible, the way you guard your heart should, as far as possible, not hurt other people and not have like dire consequences on those people. If you know that being called names or anything like that affected you as a person and resulted in a lot of hurt from you, and now you don't trust anybody in your life, why would you then turn around and do the same thing to someone else? Like, I don't know if I'm making sense, but what I'm also trying to get at with this whole conversation is sometimes we have to get to a point where we decide, you know what, enough is enough, and I'm going to hold myself accountable. And if I want to be the type of person that I want to be, and if I want to form the type of relationships that I want to form, I need to have an honest conversation with myself and say, the way that I've been going about guarding my heart is not propelling me to being the person that I want to be. The way that I've been going about trying to guard my heart is not the type of person that God intended for me to be. It's not the type of relationships that I'm trying to have. Like, I value a lot of vulnerability in friendships, right? So if I want to be in a place where, you know, people can, like, the relationships I have are open and honest, and I can have honest conversations with my people, and I can, you know, fully be present in like people's lives, then I need to start opening up to people. I need to allow those people I let into my lives to build to build the trust that I can have in them. I need to give them the space to do that, and not guard my heart to the point where I'm like, no, nobody know nothing about me, whatever, when I know that I appreciate vulnerability, and I know I want to be in spaces where I can be vulnerable, so I can be held accountable, so I can be comforted, so I can be loved, right? So I don't have to do life alone. Then I know that the way that I guard my heart, I have to adapt it in a way that will allow for those spaces to happen. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? I think that's something that not just the past year, but also a bit of like when I started therapy, really, I started thinking about of like, there are ways that you can go about guarding your heart that don't completely isolate you as a person, and quite frankly, don't turn you into the type of person that you don't want to be, right? Like, if I say, for example, I don't want to call people out of their names, and I don't want to be the type of person who says stuff to you that I know would hurt you, right? Me guarding my heart can be spotting those things in people and saying, you know what, I don't want to associate myself with this person, because when they talk about what happened in like their past relationships or their past friendships, they will literally say, oh my God, that's the reason why what. And that's not where I'm trying to be. And I never want to be in a situation where I upset a person and the first instinct that they have is to call me out of my name, or is to say, yeah, this is exactly why they like this, because 1 2 3 1 2 3, and use things that I told them in confidence against me. So look out for those things. Look out for, if you know you don't want friends that like spread your business about, right? See, do they come to you with other people's business? What will make you different to the other people? Do you know? So I think there are certain things you can do. You can be observant and whatever. There's certain things you can do, and spending time with people and whatever, to guard your heart without just being a bad person. And in terms of career, let me tell you something. I'm an artist, so I am sensitive about my stuff. So obviously, whenever there's any form of critique, or, you know, could be better here, or whatever, it can be hard to take in. And the way of guarding your heart around that, right? Honestly, your identity shouldn't be rooted in the things you do, right? That's just something you do. That's not who you are, right? Your identity shouldn't be rooted in, I want to be the best YouTuber in the world, and somebody said, your quality sucks. Have you seen Tiny Gamma's quality, right? No. Like, your identity shouldn't be rooted in those things. It shouldn't take away from you as a person. When you are getting rejections from brands left, right, and center, your identity is not rooted in those brands. You can be rejected by all those people, but that doesn't define who you are. There's a lot of ways that one can guard your heart, but I think the most important thing is just be rooted in who you are. Know who you are. I don't think there's a way of going through life without people, and there's a way of going through life without relationships. God didn't even intend that for us. Sometimes I see on Twitter, like, people be like, I don't care, I'll do it alone. God didn't intend for us to do things alone. It's important to have community. It's important to have people around you. And if you really want to build the type of relationships that you want to build in your life, obviously this is for me, this is for us, this is for whoever needs it. If you want to build certain types of relationships in your life, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. You have to allow yourself to still guard your heart, but just find ways around guarding your heart that don't make you regress in the type of person you want to be, or regress in the type of relationships that you want to be. I think it's a trial and error thing. And I also think that, God will comfort you. God will pick you back up again. I don't think you'll ever go through life without heartbreak. But I think it's just don't let it keep you down, right? Don't put your all into everything, all right? Like, let's say if you were those people, like your last relationship, you guys broke up, and you put your everything into this person, right? To the point where, you didn't hang out with your friends as much, so you can't go back to your friends, to the point where you stopped doing your activities that you like doing, you stopped having your community, right? Now, in the next relationship, I still want to maintain that identity that I have. I still want to do my hobbies. I still want to go watch soccer with the boys. I still want to go have brunch with the girls. Literally, whatever you still continue to do, still continue doing. Don't let this thing be your all, that when it's taken away, your whole world comes crashing down, and now you don't aspire for anything anymore. You don't aspire for another relationship anymore. You don't aspire for career goals anymore, or whatever the case may be. Right? I really hope that this episode made sense, because a lot of these episodes, I was even telling someone the other day that these episodes are me trying to make sense of a lot of things that I think. I'm an overthinker, so it helps me to write things down. It helps me to talk things out, to make sense of a lot of things that have happened or happened in my life. And so hopefully, as I continue to share all these things, it makes sense to you, and it can help you as well. Like, look at your life and sort of reflect on the things that you feel like you need to improve and you need to work on. I really don't think that there should be much of a cost to guarding your heart. I think it's just a matter of reflecting on the ways that you guard your heart. Are they toxic, or are they good for you and the life you're trying to build for yourself? Like, like, I'm 24 now, like, I'm almost 30, and I can't wait to be 30, because I think, like, a lot of these questions, not all of them, but I see, like, 30-year-olds and mid-30 people, they're very centered in who they are, and you can see, like, the things that matter, and the things that don't. I think I just want to get to that point where, I focus on the things that matter. I'm rooted in who I am. Nobody can tell me nothing. And I just appreciate the people that are around me that, push me towards the person that I should be. I just feel like I'm going to be, like, in as much as the year 24 is dedicated to being the Pinterest girl of my dreams, like, living, friendships, relationships, outfits, how I dress, whatever. I want to be the Pinterest girl of my dreams, but I also want to go more towards just being a wholesome person all around. More intentionally being the type of woman that I want to see myself as, working towards that 30-year-old Heeelang now, so that I'm not starting at 30 thinking, oh, I'm going to start at 30, or I'm going to start my fitness journey, I'm going to start eating healthy at 30. No, I want to be the best that I can be now, and continue to, work on that. And sometimes it's reflecting on the things that you had built as a form of protection, right? What I felt was protecting me at 20 might not be protecting me at 24. It might actually be sending me backwards, right? So just reflecting on some of the thought processes that I have now, and also just reflecting on things that I had gotten used to for a certain part of my life, changing them because I'm no longer in that part of my life. I'm in a new stage of my life. So changing and adapting, in the words of Novelo, adapt or die. Okay, so that is it from me today. I just wanted to talk about the cost of guarding your heart. What is the cost that you have left behind as a result of guarding your heart? What are some of the consequences you had to face because of the way you were guarding your heart? And what are some ways that you think you could change the way you got your heart, right? I obviously don't have the answers. Most of the episodes I've noticed, most of the episodes of this season really end in question marks because I also don't know, right? It's just something that I've been thinking about, something that I've been trying to figure out. So let's figure it out together. Let me know on whatever platform you are watching or listening to this. Hey, on whatever platform you are listening to this on, let me know what are your thoughts on guarding your heart and how you guard your heart, and if this episode made you think about how you guard your heart and how you'll implement it going forward. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for giving me a little ear to listen. And yeah, I'll see you guys, or you guys will hear me next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next week. I'm gonna be with you throughout festive because you're amazing, but because I'm even amazing because I'm committed to you. Yeah.